Hey all, it's Alma with the Cat's Pajamas, and today I want to show you how to create these cute farmhouse boho cloche ornaments using our village treat boxes and Christmas cutouts. They're so easy to make using an electronic cutting machine like Silhouette Cameo, Cricut, or Scan and Cut. I got these bottles and domes on Amazon, and I'll provide the link. The first thing you need to do is to measure the bottles for their width and height to determine how big to make the houses and the trees. If you have Silhouettestudio's Designer Edition and above, here's how you do it. First, open the Village Treat Box SVG. We'll only be using 3 of the houses, so you can delete the green boxes at the bottom and the green house at the top right. We'll now reduce the houses to 1/2 inch wide. Before you do that, make sure you click the lock where the measurements are so that the proportions are kept when you enter a new number. Now let's get a better look at them. The next thing you want to do is open the Modify panel on the right side. It looks like a rectangle with a circle through the corner. Let's do the right house. Select it and then group it until you see each of the elements in the group show up individually. Let's remove the roof and delete that, and the doorknob. Select the base of the house and copy and paste it. Then select the windows and doors of the house and click the weld button. Select the house and the welded items and select Subtract. And see how it cuts the holes out of the house where the windows and doors are? That's exactly what we want. Now on to the center house. Ungroup everything. I'm going to delete the roof line and the circle window and duplicate the base of the house. Select the entire house at the top and deselect the base of the house just so the windows and the doors are selected. Then click Weld. Select the welded items and the house and click Subtract. Now for the final house. Since the roof is nice and meaty, I think I'm going to use that. And I'm going to duplicate the body of the house. Then I'll select the entire house above and deselect its base so that only the windows and doors are selected and click Weld. Now select the welded items and house and click Subtract. I'm going to group each of the houses together. For each house and the ornaments, you'll need 2 of each of these sets. Except for the left house's roof. You'll only need 1 of these. Now let's do the tree. I'm using the Tall Tree SVG from our Christmas Cutouts SVG. You'll only need the green part of the tree, so I'm just going to copy that part and go back to the first file and paste the tree on. I'll make the tree 3/4 of an inch wide. We want to make the tree taller to fit the cloches without making the trees wider because the cloches are so narrow. So I'm going to start by making 2 of the trees. Go to the Shapes panel on the left and create 2 squares. Place one over the top of one tree, including the top branch, and take the second square and place it over the bottom branch of the second tree. Select the tree and the square, and then click Subtract. Then do the same to the other tree. Now we'll just place the top of the tree onto the bottom and make it a tad smaller. Then I'll copy the whole thing and I'll paste it. Go back to the first copy and weld that together. Now on the pasted copy, select the top and duplicate it and place it on top, making it a tad bit smaller. Just to be on the safe side, select everything and center it. Then copy and paste that tree as well. And then weld it. Now on the last tree, just duplicate the top, making it smaller, just like we did before. And align everything. And then weld. So now you have 3 different sizes of trees. Each tree will need to be duplicated twice so that you have 3 layers. I like to cut a whole bunch of everything because you know, when the creating bug hits you, you don't want to stop and cut more. Once everything is cut out, you can glue everything together. I like to use a tacky glue and a foam brush to wipe a very thin coat of glue. Then I stack them on top of the matching shape. The glue gives a little open time to shimmy the shapes into stacking nicely. Once I finish the first set of cutouts, I go back to the beginning and stack the remaining parts. All those layers give the ability of the shapes to stand up straight. Once I have everything stacked, I'm going to place the sheets between two silicone mats and place books on top of them, just to encourage them to dry really, really flat. Once they're dry, I can start building a scene in the cloches with them. I'm using Crayola air dry clay to build the bases for the houses and trees to stand in that would fit on the cork tops, which are now the bases. You can easily shape the clay with your fingers and use a palette knife if you want more texture. Then place the trees and the houses in the clay, checking to make sure that everything fits under the cloche. After the tree and house was placed, I added more clay to bring it to the edge of the cork. Now if you like, you can bring out the chunky glitter and roll the clay in that, and then add the trees and houses. Once you've done that to all the cloches, just set them aside to dry. While they're drying, I'm going to make the hangers for them. I just take a cylinder and wrap ribbon around it and tie a bow. Then just push it off the cylinder and you have a hanger. You can make bows or just square knots. As the clay dries, it shrinks, and that's what holds the houses. Now, don't be surprised if it pops off the cork base. Just re-secure it with hot glue. Once the air-dried clay hardens, you may have to re-secure the items with hot glue, or you may want to add another tree or house like I did. You can do this by using hot glue and disguising it with glitter, or you can use glitter glue as well. Now to hide the space between the cork and the clay, since the clay shrunk, I'm adding glitter glue and a small amount of chunky glitter to the inside of the cloche, kind of like snow. And to seal everything inside, I'm adding a line of hot glue. Try and be neat here. We don't want to have too much hot glue show up outside on the cork. But if it does get messy, just use a hairdryer to soften it up and peel it off. Now that the cloches are sealed, I'm just going to add some embellishments to the top with hot glue and add the ribbon hangers that I made previously. And that's it. They're so chic, don't you think? And surprisingly easy. I hope you give them a try. Have a great day.